Hello, welcome everyone who is watching this video. Myself BN Boxer. Let's start the new chapter in physics, that is chapter number 8, electrostatics. The weightage of this chapter is 6 mark as far as the new syllabus is concerned. Before start the actual syllabus of this chapter, let us revise the Gauss laws. Gauss law, and it states that the total electric flux through a closed surface is equal to the total charges enclosed by the surface divided by epsilon 0, where epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space. Mathematically, if phi is the total electric flux through a closed surface, then phi is equal to closed integration of vector E dot vector ds is equal to total charge divided by epsilon 0. In this integration, E indicates the electric field intensity. Vector E is the electric field intensity and vector ds is the vector area. This is the mathematical formula of the Gauss law. Now let us see the application of Gauss laws. Application of Gauss laws. The first application is the electric field intensity. Electric field intensity due to uniformly charged spherical shell or hollow sphere. So for this, consider a sphere having radius r, O is the center, suppose this sphere is carrying a charge q plus q, so that it will be charged uniformly like this. Now P is the any point where the electric field intensity is to be measured. So we know that Gauss law is applicable only for the closed surface, and the point P is outside the charged sphere. Therefore, draw a concentric sphere passing through the point passing through the point P, like this. And the radius of the outer sphere is suppose small r. Because of the symmetry of this sphere and Gaussian sphere, this sphere is also called Gaussian surface. Because of the symmetry, the electric field intensity is directed outward like this in all possible direction. So draw a small surface area ds around the point P. This is very small surface area ds. Here the electric intensity is directed outward and surface area ds is also directed outward. Now let sigma is the surface charge density, or it is also called charge per unit area of sphere A. Suppose this is sphere A and this is sphere B. Sphere B is called Gaussian surface. Therefore, sigma is equal to, what is sigma? Charge per unit area. So Q is the charge upon area of the sphere A, 4 pi r square, and therefore Q is equal to sigma 4 pi r square. Now the total electric flux through Gaussian surface phi is equal to close integration of vector E dot vector ds, or it is equal to close integration of vector E dot ds. If we convert this dot product into its magnitude, then it will be E ds into cos theta, where theta is the angle between the direction of electric intensity and the direction of surface area ds, area vector ds. So here theta is equal to 0 degree because E and ds both are directed along the same direction at every point on the Gaussian surface, and therefore cos theta is equal to 1. So this equation becomes phi is equal to close integration of E into ds, but electric intensity at point P due to the charge Q is constant. So E close integration of ds. So is equal to E into, now close integration of ds means 4 pi r, small r square. So 4 pi r square, that is phi is equal to E into 4 pi r square. This is equation 1. Now according to Gauss law, the total electric flux phi is equal to total charge upon epsilon 0. This is equation 2. Now equating equation 1 and 2, we get E into 4 pi r square is equal to Q upon epsilon 0, and therefore E is equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. Using this equation, we can determine the electric field intensity at any point outside the conducting sphere. But from this equation, Q is equal to sigma 4 pi r square, E is equal to, put the value of Q, sigma into 4 pi r square upon 4 pi epsilon r square. 4 pi get cancelled. E is equal to sigma r square upon epsilon 0 r square. This equation determines the electric field intensity at a point outside the conducting sphere. Now there are two cases. Case 1. If point P, this point P, lies on the surface, that is small r is equal to capital R, then this equation becomes E is equal to sigma r square upon epsilon 0, small r is equal to capital R, r square get cancelled. E is equal to sigma upon epsilon 0. This is the electric field intensity. Case 2. If point P lies inside the sphere A, then we know that inside the sphere A there is no charge. Q is equal to 0 means sigma is equal to 0, and therefore the electric field intensity E is equal to 0 upon epsilon means 0. So electric field intensity inside the conducting sphere is always 0. This is the first application of the Gauss theorem. Now, the second application. Second application of the Gauss theorem is the electric field intensity. Electric field intensity due to an infinitely long straight conductor or straight charged wire. So suppose the conductor is in the shape of cylinder like this. This is the axis of the cylinder. Let lambda be the linear charge density, or it is also called charge per unit length. Suppose P is the charge given to this conductor so that it will be charged uniformly like this. Let R is the radius of this wire. Now, let P is the any point outside the conducting wire. The distance of the point P from the axis of this wire is suppose small r. Once again, the Gauss theorem is applicable for closed surface. So draw a coaxial cylinder passing through the point P like this. So once again, because of the symmetrical bodies, the electric intensity is directed outward like this. Here is the electric intensity. Again, ds is a very small surface area around the point P. So this is ds. So electric intensity and vector ds both are directed along the same direction. This surface is called Gaussian surface. So what is lambda? Lambda be the charge per unit length, and therefore lambda is equal to charge q per unit length L, where L is the length of this cylinder, Gaussian surface like this. So the total electric flux through the Gaussian surface is phi is equal to close integration of vector E dot vector ds, or it is also equal to close integration of E ds into cos theta. Again here theta is equal to 0 degree because ds and vector E both are directed along the same direction at every point on the Gaussian surface. Remember, this surface theta is equal to 0 degree and cos theta is equal to 1. So phi is equal to close integration of E into ds cos theta is equal to 1. But electric intensity at point P due to the charged conductor is constant, E into close integration of vector ds. Here close integration of vector ds is equal to 2 pi r L, where r is the radius of the Gaussian cylinder and L is the length of Gaussian cylinder. So phi is equal to vector E into 2 pi r L. This is equation 1. According to Gauss law, total electric flux phi is equal to Q upon epsilon 0. Equation 2. Equating equation 1 and 2, E into 2 pi r L is equal to Q upon epsilon 0, and therefore E is equal to Q upon 2 pi r L epsilon 0. Now from this equation, lambda is equal to Q upon L, Q is equal to lambda into L. Put the value of Q here, we get E is equal to lambda L upon 2 pi r L epsilon 0. L get cancelled. E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon 0 r. Using this equation, we can determine the electric field intensity due to an infinitely long straight conductor or straight charged wire. This is the second application of the Gauss law. Okay, the third application will be seen later on.